Good day, everyone. My name is Kovini Moodley. I hope that you are all doing well. My sincerest apologies for not being able to be there with you today in person. Another very important commitment came up at the very last minute, and it is related to the national dialogue. So, today I really wanted to share some of my top 10, maybe more than 10, brand building tips. But let me start with my story first. I'm a chartered accountant by profession, and I really love mentoring and supporting and uplifting other women. I grew up in a really small town called Shellcross. It is south of Durban. It's the little town that you drive past, and if you drive too quickly, if you blink, you will probably miss it. So, from very humble beginnings, I think the one thing that was very important to me was a sense of community, a sense of nurturing, the sense of love that just surrounded me on a day-to-day basis in the hometown that I grew up in. I qualified as a chartered accountant in 2010, and even after I qualified, I still felt like there were more ways that I wanted to impact and inspire and just support people around me. And I thought for a while, how am I ever going to be able to do this? And then in 2020, when we were just about to go into lockdown 5, I think it was, a very scary experience for myself because both my sisters are in the public healthcare system working as doctors, but also just really, really fearful from a society perspective. All my friends were panicking. And I thought to myself, now that we are, I want to say, physically locked in our houses, which is exactly what it was, how can I now start to create an impact and use my voice and, just keep people feeling a little bit more safe than everything else that was happening in the outside world? And that's really how Boss Babes of South Africa, one of the largest digital empowerment platforms in South Africa, was born. Literally from my living room, just as we had gone into lockdown 5. After the president had announced it, I think, people were feeling all kinds of things. But for me, I thought, there's always some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. And how can I now turn this into something, that is really painful at this point, into something a little bit more powerful and get benefit out of it? So for me, it just started with coming onto the platform. Literally started with 5 followers, 2 of which were my sisters, and the other 3 were cousins that knew me. And I would just talk about, what was happening outside, the way people were feeling. Sometimes I would come onto the platform and I would share my thoughts on everything. I would share the way I was feeling. And I think slowly but surely that message started to resonate with other South Africans. So a lot of what I did in the beginning in terms of building my brand, Boss Babes of South Africa, really started from me just showing up on my platform authentically. And I think the biggest tip for anyone that wants to build any kind of brand, but I'm going to focus on the digital type, is to really make sure that firstly you're selling an authentic product and that you're showing up as yourself. Because the truth of the matter is that people buy from people, right? People want to see other human beings. With all the scams that are happening in the world today, people want to actually, see a face, see, is this person credible? And I think that's a really big part of social media when you're starting off and you're starting to build your brand and this is a direction I want to head in. I think it's very important for you to just remember at the back of your mind is that you want to show up as yourself. And if it is a brand that you're selling, or if it is just your professional or your personal or social brand, you want to make sure that you're bringing a touch of reality to it. I think social media these days has just become so airbrushed that all you do when you scroll is just see, people traveling the world and not having a care in the world. When the truth of the matter is that is often a highlight reel, right? There's a lot of things that happen in all of our lives, let's be honest, that, we keep away from the public eye. We keep away because sometimes it's too painful to share. Sometimes it's too traumatic and we don't know where to start. So I think it's just also important to just bear in mind that, when you are scrolling, what they call doom scrolling these days, that it is just very, very important to recognize that, that it's not a full picture of someone's life. It is a very thin slice, if I could say, of someone's life, their best moments, their best memories, head back laughing, the happiest moments of their life. And it's not necessarily the full reality of what that person may be going through behind the scenes. The next brand building tip that I want to share with you is around the objective, right? You need to know, if you're on social media and you're trying to build whatever brand it is, even if it's a business brand, why are you here, right? So if you're trying to build a business brand, then you are here to tell potential customers about your fantastic product offerings or services. You're here to showcase it. You're here to basically convince your audience as to why they should choose you over any other provider that's, selling the same thing. So I think it's important to know your objective. From your objective, what is very important thereafter is to define your pillars, right? So what are the key types of content that you are going to be putting out there for your audience, right? So if you look at Boss Babes of South Africa, it's largely proudly South African content. Sometimes it's the good, bad, and the ugly, because for me, it's all about keeping it real. And, the other elements are around woman empowerment, around mentorship, and our latest innovative project that we have launched, our venture, is called #ShareSizonke, where we've brought on all these incredible female and male industry leaders that have come on to share skills using this platform to now start to empower others, to upskill, for people to walk away learning something from the platform. So it's also now I want to say, educational to some element. It's very important that when you are building your brand, that you have your pillars. What does it fit into? Is it a luxury product? What are the pillars that you're going to be creating your content around? So it's going to take a bit of time to strategize. No one said social media is easy. People think it's just about posting and hoping that something goes viral. I must say that it really does feel like a bit of a part-time job at times, because there's a lot of planning that goes into our posts. And, I've got 3 young social media managers that manage it while I'm busy at my corporate job every single day. So it's definitely something that I want to say takes a bit of effort, but certainly not impossible, right? The next thing you want to make sure is that you have an accurate, or more like a consistent, posting schedule. Guys, I think it is so important, once you've defined your brand, what you stand for, is to make sure that you have a posting schedule that is consistent. Social media is about being consistent. Social media is about showing up for your brand, for yourself, putting a face to this brand, and really marketing your brand in a way that people don't feel like it's actually marketing. And what I mean by that is, you don't want to keep selling on the platform. This is what we have. This is how much it costs. Sometimes you maybe just want to tell people about your product. If you're selling flowers, you maybe just want to take people behind the scenes and, show them how you do a flower decoration, for example. So not every post that you put out there has to be a salesy. People are also tired of just constantly being inundated with things to buy, and it's just refreshing sometimes to watch behind the scenes and to just see what an average day looks like, for example. The other very important thing, guys, is your bio, right? You want to make sure that you have a presence across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as many as you can manage, basically. And you want to make sure that your bio, right, is very succinct. It states where you are, especially if you are selling stuff. It states your unique value proposition. Probably the most important part of this is about your unique value proposition. I look at some bios, sometimes people ask me to do a bit of an audit on their bio, and it just doesn't give you the essence that, you want to buy from this person. So spend some time thinking about what is the value you are offering that others are not, and make sure that that is being reflected in your bio. Make sure your bio is pretty much standard across all the social media platforms that you utilize. The next thing is about content creation. I think it is so important, guys, to plan your content. We all know that life gets in the way of living sometimes. There's unexpected things that happen, a burst tire, a huge acne breakout, which I had a few weeks ago. Life happens. So I think it's very important to make sure that you have planned your content and that you have thought about your content, right? What are the pillars that you're putting out there? and keep it relevant, right? So if you're a flower seller and you've got, Valentine's Day coming up or some big event coming up, go behind the scenes, start talking about your brand, start showcasing what you've got. Instagram is very much a visual platform. And we want to keep it that way because that's why people gravitate towards it. It's because you're going to show you something that you may want to buy. I think the other thing that's very, very important to notice in the world of social media is you've got to probably put yourself out there to register into people's minds. Psychology says it takes up to 7 attempts, right, to firstly make someone aware that you are this person, you are selling this product, this is where you base, this is your unique offering. Let's just say you offer blue roses, right? People are going to see it the first time, they're probably going to scroll past it. It takes a lot of messaging and re-messaging for people to finally get it into their head to say, oh yes, blue roses, this person can do it. Or maybe different colored spray roses, this person can do it because I've seen it. So, never give up in terms of selling your brand, putting yourself out there, building your profile. I think it's just very, very important to make sure that you are constantly creating content. You want to be posting at least once a day, and I think that is very, very important to make sure that you are posting at least once a day. And I think the last thing that I want to leave you with is just around being original, right? We don't talk enough about being original on the platform. But I think it is important. Some brands say, I just want to be a faceless brand. And if that works for you, that is really, really awesome, right? But I think on the other hand, it is very important for you to also bring your face to the brand, let people know who you are, let them know what you stand for. I think those are very, very important concepts when building a brand. And I think for me, it's just been, the community that we've built with Boss Babes of South Africa. I have met some of the most incredible people through this community. Met them first on the platform and thereafter been invited to their homes, been invited to their events. And it just has this amazing ripple effect. Our platform is all about collaboration over competition. Somewhere along the line, we as women have been taught that we need to be pitted against each other, we need to fight each other. I honestly don't believe that. I believe that if you are living in your purpose, if you are playing to your strengths, be it in work, be it in business, there's no one that can really compete with you. And I think it takes away that element of jealousy and competition. And it really helps you to focus on what it is that you are passionate about doing, what it is that is aligned to your purpose. Very, very important. I think a lot of us forget most of this. But it is important to know your purpose, why you're here, and make sure that you fill your life with things that bring you joy. It doesn't only have to be your job, right? There are different things that happen or that we enjoy and that, we can just do without even looking at our phone. And you should try in this lifetime to bring those elements together, to make it so that, you're living a content and a fulfilled life. You're working a job, but when you come home, you're doing other things that are exciting for your soul. I honestly believe that within all of us, we are multifaceted. There is something within us that, drives us towards the things that we are naturally attracted to. And I must say, inspiring communities and lending my voice to powerful campaigns is really, I want to say, my passion, my purpose here on earth, is to be able to use my voice, especially for those that are voiceless, to be able to create this huge community, this network where women can leverage off each other's skills and learn from each other. And I think it's just very, very important for all of us to just spend some time reflecting, be it a brand, personal brand, a business brand, on who you are. Because when you know who you are, it's easier for you to be able to show up authentically. And I must say, 10 years ago, I thought I knew who I was. But, having walked the journey that I have, both from a corporate perspective and a social perspective, I can safely say that, today I really know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know my values, my morals. I know when to say no. I know how to set healthy boundaries. And I think that's very important for us just, to understand, not just on Women's Month, but all the time, to just understand who we are, what is our purpose here, and, are we doing things aligned to our purpose? Are we doing things that are bringing us genuine joy? I'm going to leave it right there. You can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram or on our website, Boss Babes of South Africa and Kovini Moodley. Thank you so much for the honor to be able to inspire you with my digital branding tips. I hope that some of them were useful to you. And if you follow our platform, there'll be a lot more coming up in the next few weeks. Cheers for now, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.